to be working on one of these vintage looking pillows that I have, and I thought, who knows, maybe somebody needs to repair or restore vintage pillows themselves. So I thought that I'd throw in a quick video on the process. I wanted to talk a minute about these velvet round pillows because they hold special memories for me. If you want to skip the chit chat, go ahead and you can skip to this time signature. That way you can skip the chit chat and get right to how to do the repairs. Hi everybody, welcome back to Sawdust and Cornbread. I'm Laura Lee. If this is your first time on the channel today, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I try to put content out every week. If you guys have ever dealt with these, you know that in the center, just like a lot of pillows, there's this big round button. And then it's gathered around the sides and it has some special stitching here or tufting on the sides. So repairing these guys can be a little bit tricky. My grandmother and step-grandfather were farmers, and they had a huge yellow farmhouse out in the middle of the country. It was gorgeous. I was very tiny at the time. When they lived there, I was probably 3 or 4, but I can remember bits and pieces of where they lived. And part of those memories include these cool little round pillows. And on the side of the farmhouse, from the 2nd or 3rd floor all the way down to the ground floor, there was this round outer part of the house. On a castle, I think it's called a turret. And I remember as a little girl climbing this beautiful wooden staircase to get into that little round room. And the inside of the house was also round in that part. And in that room, there was a half-moon couch that went around the room to go along with the curve of the wall on one side. Then on the opposite side of the room, there were all these beautiful windows, and there were planters inside that room. It was almost like a solarium. My grandmother had cactuses and flowers and just all kinds of things, little mushrooms and little things that she had put down in there. And I just remember that was the coolest thing, and it intrigued me as a little girl. But there on that half-moon couch were these gorgeous round pillows. And I remember sitting on that half-moon couch and just playing with these. And you never saw round pillows under normal circumstances. All of our pillows were square. So I just thought it was really unique as a little girl. I just thought it was so cool that my grandmother had these round velvet pillows. Now I believe hers were either green velvet or yellow velvet. I can't remember the color, but I do remember the pleats. And I remember playing with this button in the center and just thinking how neat they were that they were round. Now, this isn't an actual vintage pillow. It's not one of my grandmother's. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what happened to those beautiful pillows that I played with as a little girl. But I found this replica vintage pillow in a local home goods store. Not Home Goods, but a store like Home Goods that carries home goods. And I was thrilled. I had to get 2 of these. But just like my grandmother's pillows, people like to play with these buttons in the middle. So those things have a tendency to pop off. And sure enough, that's what happened to my beautiful blue velvet vintage round pillow. So today I'm going to show you how I repaired that button that goes through the center. There's a button on each side, just in case you ever need to do that. And that's on a lot of different throw pillow designs, not just these vintage ones. But not only had the button come loose, but I noticed where the tag used to be on the side, you can't even tell now, but where the tag used to be on the side, the seam started coming out and there was actually a gap, a hole in there, and you could see the filling inside the pillow. So I also made a repair on that. I'm going to show you how you can restore and repair a vintage pillow. And if you have any pillows that have this tufted center button, I'll show you how you can fix that too. So let's get to it. First, let's fix the seam on the side of the vintage pillow. I'm going to remove the tag. It's almost coming off. And a good secret is to look inside the fabric, and sometimes there is a piece of thread long enough to make the repair, so you can just snip that off instead of buying brand new thread. Then you're going to want to tuck all of those raw ends under. You don't want any exposed raw ends when you're sewing this together. So I'm neatly going to line those up, and I will be attaching those together. Now, once you get them all lined up and tucked under, you're going to begin by taking your needle from the inside of the pillow to the outside and then looping it around inside the other half that you have folded under and pull those tight. That way your stitches are on the inside of the pillow instead of the outside. And just be sure to pull those nice and snug to seal that up. Except for when you get to the end, then you want to do your stitches on the outside because you can no longer fit your needle inside the pillow. And that's all you have to do to fill up those seams and make them disappear. It looks just like new. Moving on to the buttons, mine was still attached on one side, but the technique is pretty much the same whether you have one button missing or both. You're going to want some upholstery thread or heavy-duty utility thread to do the job. Now, like I said, my button is still intact on the other side, but if not, you're going to take a needle and pull that all the way through the pillow. Then this is a shank button, which is common for pillows. You can see here I've threaded the needle through the shank button and I'm pulling that thread all the way until the button is in the center of the pillow. And here you can see that I've got it all the way through the pillow once, and now I'm getting ready to take that same thread still attached to my shank button and force it through to the other side of the pillow. Here I am coming under, this is under the pillow on the other side. And as you pull that thread, you're going to really want to hold your pillow firmly and then thread your other button on the same way through that shank. If you don't have a button on the other side, this is the time you're going to want to thread the shank on there. Since I have an existing button, then I'm just going to want to firmly press that center down and pull until the button on the other side is firmly attached and it's concave. So basically one button is anchoring the other button. Then with the thread that's left over, I can take that off my needle and begin winding that around and around the button to make a nice secure fit. You want to make sure that those two buttons are squeezed together so that your pillow's nice and plump. Last, just take your needle and push it through underneath the shank where you went around with the thread. Go back and forth a couple of times and that's going to firmly secure your buttons to the pillow on both sides and it'll lock them in place. And most likely this is even stronger than the original tie that you had with thread, so it may even survive kids playing with the button. Just a simple, fast video today, but I thought it may be helpful for those of you out there who may come across vintage pillows or have pillows with the tufted button that you need to repair. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any good memories of these round pillows, or if you still have your grandmother's. I think that would be so cool to have my grandmother's original round pillows that I had in that little half moon couch up in the solarium on the side of the farmhouse. So many good memories. Thanks so much for joining me today. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you haven't already. I try to put content out every week. Until I see you next time, God bless.